time. Wake up. Come. See.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode within the CBU Quantum Network. I'm your show producer, Claudia, and today I am thrilled to present our episode of See Infinitely with our esteemed host, Nicole Myers Henderson, and our guest host, Sandra Lynn Burnett. Together, we embark on a transformative journey as we delve into the fascinating realm of stem cell regeneration, X39. Nicole Myers Henderson, an empath, empowering, intuitive, and holistic health consultant, will guide us through this enlightening exploration. Her integrative, holistic approach, grounded in nature and science, will shed light on the potential of stem cells for enhancing our well-being. Joining us as well is our esteemed Sandra Lynn Burnett, a renowned expert in strategic natural therapies. With her passion for health and nutrition, Sandra will provide valuable insights into the practical applications and benefits of lightweight X39. And to get more information for this product and anything else on today's shows, please go to Nicole's website, NicoleMHenderson.com. And Nicole is written Nicole, then M as in Mary, Henderson.com. When you get into her website, go to the tab that says Books and Products. And in there, you'll see the stem cell activation link to the products that we are talking today. Also remember that you are here for the opportunity to talk to our host and guests about your own issues, your own health, and receive information for that. So now, please let's welcome Nicole to the show, and she'll be introducing her co-host as well. Nicole, welcome, and we are so happy to have you here.
Thank you, Claudia. It's great to be here. It's May 26, 2023, and I am excited to have Sandra Burnett on our line today. She is a holistic RN that graduated from Peace College in Raleigh, and she studied at Wiston Hospital in the UK and received her RN degree. So most of her training was actually working with patients. Sandra became very passionate about health and nutrition, as that happens with natural caregivers and caretakers. We just want to see the world, we want to make the world a better place and make everybody feel good in it. So Sandra, she works independently now as a consultant, and she shares strategic natural therapies with an emphasis on the Life Wave X39 and PEMF, pulse electromagnetic frequency, with her clients. So you can find Sandra's website at holistic, holistic.rn.com to get more information on Sandra and to connect with her. So I am going to bring Sandra on the line, and we are going to dig right in because I'm sure there are a lot of things that we can cover today. So welcome, Sandra. It's great to have you here today.
Thank you, Nicole. It's great to be here.
Thank you. So we're going to talk about the X39, and I wanted to say you and I met probably 6 or more years ago. You had found me on Alignable and reached out and we both felt like we had a connection. And it turned out to be a valid connection because you had shared X39 with me. You were telling me about these patches that activate my own stem cells. And I was thinking, wow, what a great idea. My husband has Parkinson's, and what a great way to help his body, give him more mileage out of his body, but to see if it would activate his stem cells. And it turns out within a month of buying the cells, of signing up with the company, I ended up needing them after I had been attacked by one of my clients' canines. So it's been a interesting healing road for me. So Sandra, how did you find out about the X39?
Well, as you mentioned earlier, I do work in the PEMF arena. While there, we were going through a Class 2 clearance with the FDA with that device, and I wasn't sure if it was going to be, 6 months, or which it was basically 6 months or more. And so a few of us started looking around and just happened to find this company that's been around for about 18 years. But what had happened, this company was growing so quickly because they had come out with this particular X39 patch that activated your own stem cells. And I got a little bit interested, so I decided that I would at least start wearing them. So I wore them for about a year. And during that time, we got our clearance, so I actually went back to what I was focused on. But as I started wearing the patches, I became more interested in the technology. And so I flew down to Florida to one of the gatherings, they call, one of the conferences, to learn more. And I was mesmerized. So then I started investing more time into hearing testimonials, and it just, my whole heart started growing in that direction. It was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, so I too, I'm very passionate. I love that you're a teacher. I love that you love educating people, and first and foremost, educating yourself on these things. So I too am passionate about teaching, and oneness and unity are my focus, meaning that for me, is that we're all energy, mass, matter, electrons, photons, neutrons, gluons that glue all those pieces of this puzzle that we live, this body that we live in together. And it's all vibrating and moving together. So from your initial involvement in the PEMF and then moving into this, it seemed like what a natural way for you to learn about these things and how to help the body bring itself into balance in natural ways. So you and you had gotten, let's see, what was it? I had an event there in the Raleigh area, and you invited me to stay at your house. And you had already told me about the X39 patches before. And so when I came to stay with you, I was in the room that I was sleeping in. I remember, I felt like I was being pulled into wormholes in my sleep, not dreaming, but I felt like I was moving through energy tunnels or something. And we got to talking the next morning, and you said, well, how are you sleeping? And I was telling you a little bit about it, and you said, now, wait a minute, I need to show you something. And you went to that bedroom, and you brought back this sleeve of these little discs that are about the size of a quarter, maybe a little bit bigger. And you handed it to me, and you said, now just take one. Since you're so sensitive, hold it in your hands and tell me what you sense. And when I put it in my hand, that's exactly what I was experiencing during the night, is exactly what happened as soon as I touched them. I felt like I was moving through these energy tunnels. And I said, okay, tell me again, what is it? And you said it was the X39 patches, stem cell activation patches. And I said, I'm sold. And you're like, well, wait a minute, don't you want to know more? And I said, no, because feeding off of energy, it's important for me to understand it, how it's going to interact with my body. So I immediately felt like this was something that my body needed. So
that is so interesting. Yeah, I remember that morning. And I've got to say here, I don't normally invite people to stay at my house, but we'd had so many good conversations. After I had read your book, I was mesmerized by who is this woman? And so, after our many conversations and after reading your first book, in fact, I think your second book's getting ready to come out, isn't it? Or has it just launched?
Yeah, it's getting ready to come out.
Oh, good. But I remember saying, I have got to meet you one day. And then when you got that huge event here in Raleigh, which was such an honor that you got invited to participate. Actually, they hired you. And so, yeah, I was so amazed that you could feel the energy through the dresser.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is that it was a whole sleeve of them. So however many were in that sleeve, it wasn't just one patch, which is why I think I was sucked into so many of those energy tunnels. But yeah, so I was getting a huge dose of that, even without touching them or knowing that they were right there next to the bed. So that's how sensitive I am. Not everybody.
That is interesting. That is interesting too. Now that I have been with a LifeWave for over 3 years now, every now and then you will come across someone who is an energy worker, healer, very connected, so to speak, and they can actually feel it immediately. It's interesting to me.
Yeah, so let's talk about this wearable light wave technology. Those who want to know more about these patches, you can go to startx39now.com, STARTX39now.com. And so these stem cell activation patches, and I'll just read from here. Healthy stem cell activity promotes healing, restoration, and rejuvenation in a completely non-invasive and safe way. And it's funny, not funny. I was talking to a business associate, and she wanted to buy the patches, and she wanted to get involved. She's also in health and healing, and she was going to try the patches, but she had this information stuck in her brain where she was thinking that these had babies' stem cells in them, and was totally turned off and didn't want to use them. And I called her and I said, it's been over a month since you bought your stem cell patch and these patches. Like, are you ever going to use them? And she said, well, I'm afraid that they have something in them that I don't want to use. And I said, no, this is not what they are. That is not it at all. So it's by naturally elevating a copper peptide produced by the body, stem cell activation patches boost vitality, overall health and wellness, and turn back time. And that I find to be the key thing here, turns back time. And I noticed, Sandra, when I used them, it was during the first 30 days. Like I knew when I put them on my body or held them in my hand within the first 20 minutes, I knew I had something good that my body could work with. Yet during the first month of me wearing those patches, I noticed my skin felt amazing. Even the skin on my face looked younger. And as I age, I'll be 56 this year, like the family jowls show up. And when I noticed that I was using them, like I would use them on the back of my neck, right around the cervical spine, and it was tightening the skin on my face. And I thought, well, this is interesting. During the first month, if it can do that, imagine what it's going to do to my organs and systems. So what is it about patch you love the most, Sandra?
Well, of course, it's not anti-aging, it's age reversal, and I have loved my life so much that I am just embracing the fact that I'm age reversing, because that means I have more time. So most people don't know that by the age of 35, we've lost 50% of our stem cell activity. And by the age of 65, we've lost almost all, probably about 85-90% of our stem cell activity. And that's why people begin to age. And when we activate our body with these younger pluripotency stem cells, which is, like you said, it is from elevating the GHK-Cu copper peptide, that has been proven to activate your stem cells. So when you activate these little pluripotent stem cells, they know exactly where to go in your body. Your body wants to heal itself, but if we just don't give it the right tools, and so it needs certain holistic things. I mean, if you walked barefooted 20 miles a day, like we used to do in the olden times, you would not need a PEMF device. You no matter what, everyone needs to activate their own stem cells. And they do this through this little patch is made of organic amino acid crystals, and they hold it's more like nanotechnology. They hold a patented light frequency. So once you put the patch on your C6 or 7 at the top of your spinal column, you put it on for 12 hours, and then you take it off 12 hours later. So it kind of gets the body a chance to reset. So yeah, the patch goes on, and then you discard it the next day. Or if you have a pet, you might want to put it on a pet collar and tape it so it doesn't fall off, or in their pet bed. Because I've actually seen some remarkable visuals with like one particular, two dogs now that have walked so much better after having experienced the X39. So yeah, it warms up to your body, sends light in the body. The nanotechnology just goes in and goes to work. It's kind of like walking out in the sun. It's kind of hard for me to tell you, how does that sun translate vitamin D into my body? I don't really know the full answer, but it's very much like the way this patch works.
Right. And you're talking about animals. I actually use the AccuLife on my female German Shepherd. She'll be 13 this year, and she's got some hip stuff starting. Let's see and around her shoulders. Like I notice when she's having an issue, not just whether she's limping or not, but I can feel the heat between her shoulders. So when I put the patches on, and I literally put them on her, and she's a shepherd with she's not a long hair, but she's got thicker hair. And I still just attach it to her fur. And she's not real happy about when I pull it off 12 hours later, but she's still, like I notice when I put them on and then I put my hand back over that area where the heat was, around her hips or her shoulders, the heat's gone. It dissipates. And she jumps around the yard and throws her head like a puppy. So it's working. And then I've also noticed that through your YouTube channel, youtube.com/S as in Sandra Burn, BURN 10, S Burn 10. People can plug in there. Yeah. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, well, they can also go to learnthenjoin.com. I have a domain name called Learn, Learn, then THEN, join.com, and that routes them over to my YouTube channel.
Okay. So then they can plug in whatever health ailments they have and then determine whether LifeWave is a right or good solution for them.
Yeah, but even what's better than that, if they get in touch with you, you can go. We have a private Telegram station where we do podcasts 4 nights a week and also again on Friday, and we usually have 2 testimonials a night. So they can actually reach out to you. You can go to our Telegram station. We have a private Telegram station, and we can research just about any what I'd call disease. And it will show up. We have over 3,000 testimonials now because we've been doing this for 3.5 years. And it's just, It's phenomenal where we can just send them that particular podcast.
Yeah. Well, I love that you educate and that you have so much going on, or you're putting so much information out there for people to make informed decisions. So this is definitely something that, these patches, and we'll talk about the patches here in a second, what they are and what they are typically used for. But I wanted to also let people know it's not just for dogs. I don't know, have you used them on cats? Sandra, do you know anybody who has?
Well, I did put one on my cat one day, and it was too much energy for her. It was just
Poor cat.
I think she was swearing at me, actually. She felt the energy so intensely that I thought I wasn't going to be able to catch her, but I did, and I took it off. Yeah. So I think you can't cut. Yeah, you cannot cut these patches in half, but you can peel back it halfway, and so that's what I should have done. I know better now, but since then, she was 28 years old and she's since passed away. But yeah, she was a good cat.
You shuttled her right into the afterlife on an energy wave. That's not funny.
No, not true.
I
not
am
true.
teasing. I'm teasing. Yeah, I'm teasing. The horses, but also that these are being used on horses. So that's another good reason to check out your YouTube channel. And I'm happy to have these discussions with anybody. But you can actually see within the video, there's a demonstration where this horse trainer or horse owner actually he checks the horse for imbalances, like where there's any pains or tenderness, and then he puts the patches on and tests again, and the horse is fine. And then he takes them off and runs his hand over the horse's body again, and the horse shows tenderness. He puts the patches back on and shows that there's no tenderness. So there's something to be said for these things. So
absolutely.
So the patents, you mentioned the patents, and just here within the site, it talks about having over 100 patents and 90 clinical studies, controlled research studies, and published scientific paperwork that validates the many health benefits. So being cleared by the FDA and having all that information, this is great info for those of you that like to do your own homework and want to make an informed decision before you play with this stuff.
Well, the nice thing about it, Nicole, there are no complications outside of we don't recommend it for a lady who's pregnant or someone who's had an organ transplant. So there, nothing goes in the body. Nothing goes in the body except it activates the light from the body, activates the patch, and the patch just elevates. So it's like sending light into the body.
Okay, so I can see why, especially being energy and for a pregnant mother. What about the organ, the stem cell? Is it because those who have gotten a new organ or an organ that they're on medication to suppress the body?
No, because the patch will not recognize that organ because it's not your stem cells in that organ. Somebody else's organ.
Well, that's interesting. That leads me to want to do some more research. So I'll make myself a note about looking into that, and maybe I'll do some remote viewing on it to see what comes up.
And, I think it's also that that the company just, it's better to be on the side of caution, and when you start going in and changing organs in the body, you're working in a different area. And the one reason that I became so involved holistically is because I literally did most of my training in the hospital. People have no idea of the thousands of diseases that can come up in your lifetime. And so we have to be proactive. I mean, my tagline is, why die early? I mean, people just need to be educated along a little bit of the science of the body, and their life will change. This will change the trajectory of those that use it, if they use it long enough. Now, David Smith, who is the scientist behind this, says you need to think of wearing these patches 1 month for every decade you are old. So it's not like taking a pill where you cover signs and symptoms again. This is a different approach to living your life, kind of like brushing your teeth. You're proactive. And that's what this therapy is as well. It's being proactive. It may initially reset a lot of gene expression in the sense that you might start feeling better immediately. I have a lot of people that notice, and I have noticed this too, deeper sleep, better sleep. I have great mental clarity, in my opinion. I have noticed some, reduction in wrinkles and that type of things, and my hair got darker. So, I've noticed some things, but then other people, have said that they have more energy, more joy. I've had a client call me 2 days ago, and she had gone off the X39 and said her skin was changing. It was getting flaky. So she said, I'm going back on it, So,
yeah,
just interesting.
For my husband, we use the Silent Night to help him with sleeping, and I've been using, he's got a pinched nerve and a bad disc in his back, which he's having more issues with. So I've been using the X39, X49, glutathione, Y-Age Ion, and the Aloe Vita patches with him as well. And I really, what I'm going to do is put in an order for the Ice Wave, because that would probably be of more benefit for him until we can get him in for an MRI to make sure that there's nothing like really, really bad going on. So do you want, I'll tell you what we can do. Mary is on the line from North Carolina, and she has some health stuff going on. Claudia, if you want to let Mary in, we'll talk to her, and then we'll also talk about the patches if that's something that resonates for Mary.
Yeah, Mary?
Hello.
Can you hear me? Hi, dear. Thanks for coming today.
Oh, thank you for presenting this wonderful program. I'm so very grateful. I am 72 years old, and I've had many long years of health issues. When I was diagnosed with psoriatic arthritis, and then Hashimoto thyroid, and then I went on medication at Duke Medical Center when they were experimenting with chemotherapy for psoriatic arthritis. I ended up with cirrhosis of the liver. I've got Lyme disease, chronic Lyme disease, and fibromyalgia, polymyalgia rheumatica. And it's just been one thing after the other. I'm just like treading water in my life. That's how I feel.
That's interesting.
A naturopath, homeopathic physician saved my life because I was, I'm chemically sensitive. My whole immune system was wiped out, and so I tried to do natural, but my homeopathic physician has retired, and so a couple of times now I've had to go on antibiotics a couple of times. My body doesn't like medications. So anyway, I'm very curious about this information you're giving out, and if it would be something that would benefit me with my health issues.
Okay. So when I had asked you for your birth date when you came on, so just digging into your energy field just to see what I intuitively feel or felt, I made some notes right after you gave me your birth date, and it just said source of imbalance, unknown etiology, cell degradation, stress and stressors, and that felt like that's gone on for a very long time, and that's the way I wrote it down. It said sensitive systems, neurological sensitivity, some spinal imbalances, and the need for energy work, breath work, and circulatory rebalancing to rebalance the flow. So I'll invite Sandra in to talk to you about, and she, being an RN, I'm sure she has heard much of what you just said about the things that you've had going on. Sandra, do you have any thoughts and ideas that you would present to Mary today?
Well, first, Mary, I'm sorry you've gone through this journey because I know it's been hard.
Yes, and I would like to add before you continue, if that's okay. My husband has had cancer and Alzheimer's and heart failure for a few years, and he just passed away this past week, and he was in hospice for like 6 months. So that just kind of exacerbated all my stress, and I kind of put all of my health issues on the back burner to be with him. So anyway, I just wanted to add that. So anyway.
Well, thank you. And I want to say too, Sandra, that our hearts go out to you, Mary. It's not, when you're talking about being a caregiver to someone else, you've really got to make sure you take care of yourself. Without you, then where is that other person? How do they care for themselves? So it's I'm glad now that you're taking care of yourself. However, had to go through all that, or that you have. So go ahead, Sandra. I'm sorry. Just wanted to share.
Well, the stress is just, I can't imagine what you've been through. But, I would honestly feel that this would be an incredible, affordable place to start. Because the patches will begin to address, and you need to just let them go where they will go where they need to go first. I mean, we do have a patch that is, focused on stress too. You have a lot of inflammation in your body, so I would recommend that you would start with the X39, the Eon, and maybe even one other patch. But those two to get the inflammation out. These stem cell activation patches work better without inflammation in your body. That's why a lot of people, when they go get these expensive injections, the injections don't work because they have so much inflammation in the body, and inflammation kills stem cells. And so I think that nice combination, and Nicole can help you with that, but I think that would be the best place to start. That's actually where I start most people. I do tell them up front, you've got to be thinking, okay, I'm 70 years old, so I'm going to wear these for 7 months. But you will probably in the first 30 days start feeling some relief. And you want to do it holistically so you're not covering up the signs and symptoms.
Right. We're not putting on Band-Aids here.
Yeah, we're getting to root cause.
So there's also a patch, the carnosine. When I first got the patches, I did X39, glutathione, and the carnosine. Those are the three that I added in the Age-Ion as well. So I got those first, and that's where I felt the biggest difference. The carnosine, it says, protects the neurological system. And since you've been dealing with Lyme, and your body was showing up with neurological sensitivities, that might be a good place to start too. So it makes sense to do a little homework and just see what resonates for you, Mary. And the other thing that we want to be mindful of is when you're using your patches, that you hydrate.
Mm-hmm.
Stay hydrated. That's because inflammation typically within the body, we're not adding enough fluids. Think about how fluid our bodies are supposed to be, how fluid the cells and the systems are. And without that fluid, then things aren't moving properly. You're not purging the old, all the old yuck that needs to go. So be sure that if you choose to do this, that you hydrate. And water may not be enough. As we age, we need to consider adding in electrolytes. So whether it's water, salt, sugar, lemon, or whether you choose Pedialyte or look into some other options for cell hydration. That would be smart.
Okay. Well, this
and
is
I'm happy
exciting.
to talk to you. Yeah, we can talk about it. If you decide you want to look into it, I'm happy to set up a call with you, and we'll go through all the info and see what fits for you.
That would be great. This is very hopeful for me. Yes, thank you. All
right, honey. And Mary, I'll just let you know, I've started making meditation audios, which I'll offer through the website, and they'll be free. So you can go in and do some meditation. Since your body was suggesting it needs breath work, to give yourself 5 to 20 minutes a day just to do a meditation. I think you'll reap some reward from just tuning other things out and just going within.
That sounds great. I was trying to remember what you said when you tuned in, that my body needed energy work and circulatory work and your neurological.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Mary, if you really do talk to Nicole, your life, your trajectory is going to change, because I have on my LifeWave team, I have acupuncturists, I have I don't know how many naturopaths on my team, so they're actually helping get the word out there. But these are, very educated people too, and they're using this same modality, the same non-invasive modality.
Wonderful.
I'm so glad you called in. I'm very good.
I'm so grateful that I got to speak to both of y'all. This is very making me very hopeful, and I'm very excited about it. So, because now I've got to start really focusing on myself more now that after my husband has passed. It's kind of like I've just been going down the tube and not really having the time or the energy to devote to myself. So I got to get back on the program now. So this is very hopeful, and thank you both so very, very much. And I will make arrangements to talk to you, Nicole. I really want to do that.
All right, Mary. Thank you. I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Okay. Thank you both. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Claudia, do we have any other callers?
Not for the moment, but I do have a question, guys. So you're talking about the patches, and I'm hearing other modalities, and most of the people today, we are already involved in some this or that modality or treatment. These patches, you can use it along anything else, or are there certain things, like if you're taking certain medication or if you're doing certain modalities that you should not combine?
Well, Nicole, I'll address that one. I have never heard of any complications with any other modalities, but if you're under doctor's care, it's always wise to let your doctor see this, because you're literally under doctor's care. So, we don't make any promises here. It's just we don't want to set ourselves up for any FDA situation. We are just here providing information.
Right, and I just want you to know, our health is really our responsibility, and we, the human race, have over years of being trained or taught into believing that we don't know what our body needs. We go to external authorities like physicians and other practitioners that have paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for their training and certification and licensing, and we don't interact with them and communicate. I've taken care of enough people that have said, well, I don't want to say that to my doctor because I'm afraid that they'll not treat me anymore. They won't want me as a patient. And I think today it's more important than ever that you know that you're able to have a conversation with your practitioners, tell them what it is you're using. And if they say, well, I don't want you to use that, then you ask them to do enough research that proves to you why you shouldn't be doing it. So it should be a two-way conversation, not a one-way conversation. So I use there is a device that I chose to purchase, and again, I did it for my husband and myself, which is a beamer, and that's that pulse electromagnetic frequency device, but that's a Class 2 FDA cleared device. Sandra, you had introduced me to that company, and I started Beamer first, but I still chose to do these, to add in the LifeWave patches, because you're going to the source of what we are. The Beamer is for the circulatory system, the capillaries, restoring blood flow to the capillaries, which restores blood flow to the rest of the body, detoxifies the blood, right? Reoxygenates the blood. But these patches address what we are at the core of our human existence, which is energy. Correct, Sandra?
Correct. Yeah. And I'm going to add to that, Nicole, because most people do not know that 74% of our body are capillaries. So if we can't get the oxygenated blood flow to all the cells, we're missing the boat again. So the combination of these two are phenomenal. I can't go on about it.
Potent. Yeah, I use them together. Like before I go to bed at night, I get on my Beamer, but I use my patches. Like there's some patches that I'll use during the day, and there's some patches I'll use at night. And it's interesting. I started doing a little research to see what would happen when I'm hired to do a medical intuitive or medical remote viewing evaluation, and I feel certain things. Like I had a recent client that had thyroid issues, and I swear, working within that energy field, I felt like my thyroid was like so stagnant and inflamed. I felt like it was going to jump out of my throat. And I had to remember, when I'm doing these sessions, that I'm taking on what my clients are feeling. So I decided that while I was working on the remote viewing, that I would put the patches on the areas where my client was having the imbalances. And then I'd call them an hour later to say, okay, I've completed your remote viewing session and I did something a little different. How did you feel over this past hour? And they often say, I feel better than I have felt in 10 or more years. So energetically, being that it doesn't, when you have healthy electrons or healthy cells, healthy energy on one side, and it connects with unhealthy energy halfway across the world, that this is where that quantum word that's being used now, entanglement, comes in. So it's that the unhealthy cells get reminded of their healthiest state, and they can start to reboot and rejuvenate when you make that connection. So I'm going to continue doing more research on it, and I'll be purposefully asking clients if they want me to add certain things to their remote viewing to see if it initiates or sparks their healing process.
That's so interesting. Wow.
So
I can see where that would happen, Nicole.
Yeah. So there's a community of scientists and research that have been researching all this stuff. So have you personally met David Schmidt, the inventor and doctor that created these?
No, I have. He's the scientist behind this. No, I have not. I've seen him at the conference, and I respect him so much. He's really about helping people. What happened, just to give you a brief history, he was hired by the government to develop a patch for the Navy SEALs because when they get in the submarines, they were drinking too much caffeine, so they wanted him to create something that would actually keep them awake. And so that there is the energy patch, which my energy patches actually arrived yesterday. I bought some just because I like to keep them on hand. And I don't use them every day, but I use them in case I think I might need them. But anyway, so he's just, he gives a lot of credit to God for the gifts that he has, and he stayed in that laboratory and just kept developing other patches, and then he spent millions of dollars to develop this X39, and that came out about 4.5 years ago. In fact, I'll just share some numbers with you, which is great for me to share because it means the company is growing. But 4.5 years ago, the company was doing about $40 million. In February of this year, we did $40 million in 1 month, and we did $4 million in 1 day. And this X39 patch is really just taking this company to the next level.
You know what I love, Sandra, is I had opened a health store back in 1994, and I spent tens of thousands of dollars to fill it with products. And at the time, that's what we think about. It's like, what is the body deficient in? What does it need? There's so many different things, and I wanted to be sure that I could help everybody. And what was really bad about owning the health store is that when you have a big heart, you just want to heal everybody. So I was like giving away more product than I was selling, and I shut the store down ultimately after a few years. But I've continued in this field of holistic health and wellness. And what I love about the patches is that I don't have to fill my body with a bunch of other stuff to give it what it needs. Like I do keep B12 methylcobalamin on hand just so that, if I feel like I need that energy boost. But I like when you're talking about that energy enhancer patch, that was one of those that I tried first. And I'm so sensitive to energy, and I'm pretty sensitive to caffeine as well. So that's one that I myself don't use because I'm wired for sound already. Yeah. But yeah. So there was one. Go ahead.
I was just going to say there is one patch that I do enjoy wearing, especially when I go out and about in large groups, but it's the glutathione patch because it actually raises your glutathione by about 300%, and it lasts for 12 hours. Most glutathione's in and out,
So that's your body's master antioxidant and primary antioxidant for detoxification, and that provides crucial information system support to the body, and it's clinically proven to elevate your glutathione levels by 300% on an average of 300% within 24 hours. Now, I'm glad you brought it up, Sandra, because we have another woman who had joined our team. She was taking glutathione in I think it's a liquid that she was taking in sublingually under the tongue. Now, she had a question, and my suggestion to her was not to use the glutathione patches while taking the other. So I think she just said she ran out of the liquid and was going to switch to the patches to see if she noticed anything different. Standing, and maybe you know more about this, that if we give our body too much of something when we're going through the healing and detox process, that it could cause what's called a Herxheimer's response, where we're trying to detox too fast.
Right, but also it's also called retracing in layman's terms, and the cells have memory. So when you're going through and your body is getting better, like every now and then I will have a headache. All of a sudden I can feel my head is aching. I don't keep any aspirins or any of that stuff in my house. So in fact, I don't really have any medication, I don't think, but so I can feel the headache. Well, I know that my body is retracing. And so I'm really glad that I'm feeling that, because now I'm cleaning out another cobweb somewhere in my body. And I get through it, and it's maybe gone 5 hours later. Boom. Just drink a little more water to help it move on out.
Absolutely. Yeah, typically that's dehydration too when headaches come on. So from purging to keeping the body fluid is really important through that, decreasing that inflammation. Now, there's another patch which I love, and if any of our callers have or listeners have looked into telomeres, or telomeres is how some people pronounce it, Telomere. And if you think about your chromosomes, at the end of the chromosome are these little things that they kind of resemble the little protective binders that are on the end of your shoelaces. And those are your telomeres. And what they do is they protect the strands of our DNA. Correct? Is that understanding correct, yeah. Sandra? Okay.
That's my understanding.
The Alavida, ALAVIDA patches improve the health of the skin inside and out. 98.6% naturally derived plant source ingredients, and they elevate epithelium, what's that called? I'm not sure. I'm tongue-tied here. EPITHALAMIN, and it's a peptide. And the peptide is responsible for vibrant skin reduction, reduces the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles, builds collagen, tightens the skin, evens out skin tone and discoloration. So that's interesting there, Sandra, because I have another client who has vitiligo. Do you know anybody who's used these patches for that?
I do not.
So if somebody came to you with that issue, would you be looking at the X39 for restoration? When you're looking at overall stem cell activation, or would you go more to the telomeres and helping to lengthen life, and while also doing all these other things that Alavida touts?
I really focus on the X39. Probably, 95% of my business is based off of that, because I really want to regenerate and repair, and then we can get further down the road, but I really want to start kind of that root cause, because if you've got issues going on, we need to address the root cause, and then we're going to really address it well if we can get the inflammation out and reactivate what has already gone dormant.
Right. So there's another question
that's what I lead.
Go ahead.
That's what I lead with. Now, I do have a naturopath. If you go to that YouTube channel, Learn Then Join, there's a naturopath on there, and she's talking about she'd done an AO scan on her body, and her telomeres were longer the second time she did her scan, which was interesting. And the only thing she'd done differently was wearing the patch. So I just thought that was, I was really surprised to hear her be able to track that.
Yeah, there's a book called The Telomere Effect, and I don't know the authors. I've heard them speak before, and I do have the book. I've enjoyed it immensely. So it's when our telomeres are shortening that our lifespan is shortening. It makes sense that, and what's nice is that there is something natural and available to help to lengthen our telomeres and strengthen our body. Creating longevity. But there's another one, SP6 Complete, and it says that it gently stimulates acupressure points that cause a natural decrease in hunger and sugar cravings without drug stimulants and needles. And SP6 provides hormone balance and digestive system support. Do you have any people on that?
I don't. I do have my own patches, but I don't have anyone specifically that. Now, a lot of people go in and actually, buy their own patches. So I don't keep up with what they're doing because everyone that comes in has a back office, whether they be a preferred customer, a retail customer, and maybe not. But I highly recommend that people look at getting the wholesale price. And the two ways that you can do that is to become a preferred customer or join as a silver. That's what I usually do, is recommend that people come in as a silver or a gold, because they may down the road want to share this information, and that's a great way that they can start getting, so to speak, their patches free, because you'll that's what I did. I started earning the income to pay for my patches, and then it was like, well, wait a minute, this is too much fun. I'm seeing a lot of people, get better.
Yeah, I think that's how I did mine. So when I first started with you with LifeWave, I jumped in at silver and was able to try it. And I really spent that first year just using it for myself and my husband, my mother, some other people that were interested. And wasn't, because I had such a horrific experience with letting go of my health store, I wasn't in that mode of I didn't want to push myself to sell something. Like, I figured if it was going to work, it would have to sell itself. People would see that the benefits that I was getting out of it, and it would be easy enough to talk about. So
yeah.
That's where I ended up. And now it's, you get to the point, say, in this world where so many people are out of work and really want something that is easy and effortless and creates a physical, mental, emotional benefit of sorts. So I'll say it that way. And so it's just been easy to share what LifeWave is, which is why, and there's so much cool technology now that helps us to educate and to reveal the research that they've done on it, that it's a no-brainer. Like, I can't imagine that this stuff isn't something that every household across the world would have in it. I'd much rather have a closet filled with these.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. If you were talking about a medicine cabinet, this is it. The SP6 is known for balancing hormones and, controlling the appetite. So I really haven't met a lot of clients that are in focused on that. Mine tend to be more focused on the regeneration and the repairing. And so that's why I do focus on those two patches.
Well, so the SP6, I can think of a reason why I should probably start to use it. And I went through menopause at 37, chemically induced with medication, and because of endometriosis. And so that has thrown off my hormones. So every once in a blue moon, I use bioidentical hormones. It's a cream, and a compounding pharmacy has to make it based upon what hormones I'm deficient in. Well, I think I would spend far less money buying wholesale the SP6 than I spend on the creams. So that makes me want to try the SP6 and hold off on the creams for a while and see which one, see what kind of a difference I feel.
Yeah, that makes sense. And if I bought 3. When you buy more than one, you can save up to $20. So per package. So just look at that too.
I keep forgetting about that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Don't forget to save money where you can, especially in today's world.
Yeah. So I know, right? So
Sandra, can I have a question for you? Once you start the patches, what are the most common things that people mention that they feel immediately? So what would be those things that you can look forward?
Well,
okay. So
I have. Did you want to answer it?
Well, I just wanted to share when I first put a patch on, I actually could feel the mitochondria in my cells, the powerhouse of my cells. It actually felt like they could breathe. And my mother, when I first put them on her, I had just picked her up from the hospital, and she was experiencing really severe back pain. And I put the X39 and a glutathione on her back. And within 20 minutes, she got up off the couch, went to the bathroom to pee, and hollered at me from there and said, "What did you do to me?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" She said, "I've had back pain for 20 years, and you put something on me, and 20 minutes later, it's gone. Like, what did you do?" And I just told her what the patches were. Like, I didn't tell her about them before I put them on her. I just put them on her. So go ahead, Sandra. What did you hear most, or what did you experience?
Well, I think I hear most, better sleep, and some pain goes away. Even within the first week, people, if they wear them properly, they will feel them. There was a lady in California, and she'd been having excruciating pain for years in her lower back, and somebody sent her some patches but didn't tell her what to do with them. So, except put them on. Well, she didn't know just to put one on, and she didn't even know where to put it. So she actually put a couple around her pain. And what's so funny is she didn't take them off. You're supposed to take them off 12 hours later. She didn't take them off. She wore them for like a couple of days. Her pain left.
Yeah, I've done the same thing.
I mean, it's amazing. I mean, I'll tell you what I did with the ice wave, though. I bent down and did something when I was getting something out of the safe, and I think I tore the ligaments in my knee. Not much, but it was very painful. And I put the ice wave on it. I ended up having to walk about a mile in the airport in my boots, and my pain was manageable doing that, and I wore them for about 2 weeks, and it completely left. I couldn't believe it. And then about a month later, it flared one day. I went and put my ice wave patch on, and it left, and it hadn't been back since. And that's been probably 9 months. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, it is. And just talking about the ice wave and AccuLife, the AccuLife for animals, the ice wave for humans for pain, they come with 2 patches in them. So you have to be mindful. I wasn't. When I ordered them the first time, I went in, I reached in and didn't realize that there was like 2 parts of that sleeve. And there's a brown patch, and then there's a white patch. And the white patch, for anyone who doesn't know or didn't realize that there's 2 patches in the package, the white goes on the right, the brown goes on the left. So white on right, brown on left. So if you have a knee issue, you put the white patch on the right side of the knee, you put the brown patch on the left side. Correct, Sandra?
Yep, that's correct.
Right.
And I think we're running out of time. Dang.
Yeah, we are. Yep, we have 1 more minute. So, Claudia, do you have any more questions? Or Sandra, is there anything you want to share before we say goodbye to everybody?
No, but I hope people take this message to heart to reach out to you, because we never know what's around the corner.
True that. No kidding. Claudia, do you have any questions?
No more questions. I know where to reach you both. So why don't you leave us with some messages, Nicole, before we say goodbye?
Yeah, so...
Okay, my message, I'll let you in. I'm just going to give you my message, and it is my tagline: why die early?
Yeah, why die early? And you have something else on your website, and it is a saying that Albert Einstein had actually, it's been out for a long time, which is the doctor of the future would, how does it go? Let me see. The doctor of the future, technology. The doctor of the future will give no medicine, but will interest his patients in the care of the human frame and diet and in the cause and prevention of disease. And remembering that we are energy to our core. Once this physical body's gone, we are still energy and go back to it. So why not sources that can help to reboot who and what you are to your core? And finally, seeing infinitely, consider being compassionate and caring for all those that are out there in the world. This is not an easy time or an easy place to be living in, and it's time for us to all treat each other differently with compassion and respect until you just can't anymore and you have to kick somebody's butt. No, just kidding. So I love you all. I'm teasing. And you take care. Thank you, Claudia. Thank you, Sandra. I'm so happy to have spent this time with you and Claudia. And thank you, Daniel, for running the show. And we'll see you all next month. If you need information,
thank you both.
Go to NicoleMHenderson.com, NICOLE, M as in Mary, HENDERSON.com. And stay tuned for the publishing of my new book, See, Everything, Everywhere, Always. Thank you. Love you all.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra.
It's time. Wake up. Come. See.